Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy Sunday to you all. Let's get into the Word of God. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And we are going to look at verse 7 now. And again, for those of you who have not been following along, we've been kind of doing a little series on 1 Corinthians 13, also known as the love chapter. And in the King James Bible, the word is charity, that is equivalent to the word love. So now we're going to look at verse 7, again, talking about charity. Charity beareth all things. Beareth all things. What does that mean? To bear all things. Well, again, we're talking about charity, right? We're talking about love. So love is, it's something that you have in your relationship with people, right? And as Christians especially, love should be the foundation of everything that we say and do and every relationship that we have in our life. And that's not just necessarily the close relationships. It's like, oh yeah, we can have charity with your wife, your children, your parents, but coworkers, not so. No, even with coworkers, friends, acquaintances, coworkers, neighbors, right? I mean, that's the second greatest commandment, is to love thy neighbor as thyself. Sometimes, we're not, actually oftentimes I would say, not necessarily super close to all of our neighbors, right? And so this word charity applies to every part of your life as a Christian, okay? And so it's every part of every relationship that you have as a Christian. So when it says beareth all things, I think of just carrying a burden, right? Or carrying something. And, love will help us to be able to bear a lot more things, I think, than if we didn't have love. Let me give you a great example. One of the, I think, best examples I can think of is Gladys Aylward. She was a missionary to China, okay, single lady. She was not married when she was a missionary to China. And she was a missionary to China just before World War II. And World War II broke out. The Japanese began to invade mainland China, and they were just absolutely ruthless, okay, to all foreigners, all non-Japanese, but especially the Chinese. They really hated the Chinese. And so when they began to, invade closer to where Gladys was, they were just extremely violent, just murdering and pillaging. And she got caught in kind of a crossfire, okay? And the Japanese began shooting at her, and she ran away. And she was actually shot, okay? So she had a bullet wound. And she was able to escape. And she made it back to the orphanage where she worked at. And she knew they had to get out of there. But the problem was they had 100 orphans. 100. That's a lot of children. So she took those 100 orphans with a bullet wound, okay? She just patched it up real quick. And she walked by herself with 100 orphans, including a baby, 100 miles to get them to safety, to get them to a town where they were relatively safe, or at least safer than where they were from the Japanese. And during this 100-mile trek across mountains and treacherous land, they had to watch out for Japanese planes overhead, and they had to, intermittently duck down and lie still. And she had to kind of play a little game with them. Okay, it's time to lie still. No noise. Don't say anything. And the Japanese flew over, and so long as the Japanese planes didn't notice them, they're safe. But if they noticed them, they would have dive bombed them and killed them all. So 100 miles with a bullet wound, and she didn't lose a single child, with 100 orphans, including a baby. How was she able to bear that burden? Charity. That's how. She deeply loved the Lord. And as a result, she deeply loved those orphans. And she brought them all to safety. It was charity that helped her to bear that burden. And let me tell you, every relationship we have in life comes with its burdens. You are going to have to bear some burdens in your marriage, your relationship with your children, your relationship with your friends, your parents, whatever it may be, your neighbors, even your acquaintances, your coworkers, your boss. But so long as that relationship is grounded in the love of God, in charity, you can bear all things in that relationship. I'm going to stop right there. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you soon in church. In the meantime, have a wonderful morning, and again, we'll hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.